What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to start with the final leg of this build. And that's going to be the rear end overhaul and the transmission swap. So right now I've got the car up in the air on jack stands, as you can see. I've got the wheels off, and what I'm going to attempt to do here is to actually drop the entire IRS out. I've watched a couple of DIYs on how to do this, where basically they unbolted the calipers and dropped the IRS away from the brake lines. And the way it looks, I may be able to do that. I'm not sure yet. I may just try to drop it down first and then see what I'm going to do with the brake lines. So there's only 4 bolts that hold in the IRS. I'll show you. Alright, so you've got a bolt here. You've got your bolt here where the control arms used to go. And on the other side, you've got the same 2 bolts. And that's really all that's holding the IRS in. Oh, and then you've got the 4 bolts underneath that hold the drive shaft to the differential yoke up there. So I guess we're just gonna quit stalling and go ahead and see what we can do about dropping this IRS out. Alright, so at this point I've got all 4 bolts removed, and also the top of the struts, which I forgot to mention earlier. And the IRS is still not budging, so I've got my cheater bar here, and I'm trying to basically just kind of gently persuade the IRS to move from where it was at. I don't want this thing to fall, but it's starting to move just a little bit, so I'm going to work with this and just trying to keep this thing from falling out of the car. Alright, so prying it down worked, and the IRS is on the move. It's basically not in the car right now, and it's ready to pop out. What I think is going to be the easiest thing for me to do right now, since I hate screwing with brake lines, instead of disconnecting the T-fitting, which you can't see, but it's up in this area here, I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect the brake banjo from here, feed the lines back through, and that way there will be nothing else holding the IRS on. Alright folks, check that out. The rear end is gone. I never actually thought I'd be able to do that myself, but there you have it. It wasn't so bad. Alright, so we're back here underneath the car, and got the drive shaft propped up just so it wouldn't hit the ground. We're going to pull that out in a second and actually slide the drive shaft out, but I wanted to show you guys, since the rear end is out, we're also going to go ahead and tackle that fuel filter. Since you have a clear shot at it, I already went ahead and bought a new one, and we're going to swap that in there. So let's go ahead and pull the bricks out from this drive shaft, and it should just slide out without any special tools. And as you can see, it just comes right out. Alright, so it looks like the fuel filter uses these quick disconnects, which it's usually not even that easy to pull them out, but you just pop them up like so. They pop out of place. And I'm not going to put this on camera because I'm just going to be very careful and use both hands because I don't want gas in my eyes. But these lines are just going to pop off from the sides, and it doesn't really take much pressure to pull them off. So I'm just going to pop the lines off. I'm going to loosen this nut and swap the new filter in there. Alright, so the new filter is here. It's in place. Once I disconnected the fuel tank line, there surprisingly wasn't very much gasoline coming out. Same thing when I disconnected this line going to the motor, but gas poured out of the filter. It's just like a ton of gas just coming out. Be very careful when you do this. Make sure you're in an open area that you can escape easily. Have good ventilation, and don't smoke or create any sparks. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Candyman. Alright, so the new filter is here. It's in place. Once I disconnected the fuel tank line, there surprisingly wasn't very much gasoline coming out. Same thing when I disconnected this line going to the motor, but gas poured out of the filter. It's just like a ton of gas just coming out. Be very careful when you do this. Make sure you're in an open area that you can escape easily. have good ventilation and don't smoke or create any sparks. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Candyman. All right, folks, so that's pretty much it for the day. We got the rear end pulled, we got the drive shaft out. Luckily, that's not the end of the video for you guys, and through video magic, you're going to get to see me skip right to the next part, which is probably going to be pulling the transmission and swapping in the TKO. Once that happens, we're basically going to break down this whole rear end, and we're going to install the new control arms and the custom differential and whatever else. Oh yeah, we've got some Maximum Motorsports parts here and some German parts over there for the diff. So all of this stuff is getting ready to get done. Stay tuned. All right, folks, I've been under here for a couple of hours, like literally trying to figure this thing out. I'm sorry I won't be able to actually show you the process that I went through to get this thing moving. But what happened is I was incorrect before. What you got to do is you have to let the cross member down first. The transmission and motor will tilt back, and then you'll have clearance to hit those 4 bolts that you can see on there. I did actually have to use an impact and a couple of extensions on the top bolts. The transmission came out, and then it peed on me a lot. And so now it's out, and we can basically pull it out, and then we can hit the rest of the bolts along the perimeter of the belt housing and pull the belt housing off. Also, what I didn't show you was disconnection of the clutch cable, which is very simple. If you're under the car, you'll figure that out, and all the other wiring that goes with the transmission. So we're gonna pull this thing out of here, and that's gonna be it for the day because I'm sick of messing with this. Low crawl game. Low crawl. Alright folks, now it's time to tackle this rear suspension that we've got here. Let's take a look and see what we're doing. When you look at this independent rear suspension, it does look a little bit intimidating because basically I'm going to be disassembling this whole thing. But fortunately, everything is very easy to get to. As you can see, my control arm bolts are right here on the outside. You know, there, I'll be disconnecting those. The toe links disconnect here and here. All right, so check it out, folks. This right here, which I'm about to pull out, is the toe link. And this is what was actually damaged when I hit the curb. So as you can see, it's definitely bent up. And the crazy thing about this part is you can't even buy these OEM anymore. So, I don't know. People generally don't like these. They say they're garbage from the factory. I really wanted to go OEM just to save money, but I ended up getting some upgrades, and that's what it's going to be. So that's what got damaged. All right, folks, we've hit a major snag. Like I said before, this is a 99 IRS. It's supposed to have 29 spline axles, but it looks like at some point the previous owner upgraded it, and I didn't know. So I've got a custom 29 spline diff, and these are not compatible. I've waited a year for this diff, and it's wrong. So I don't even know what I'm gonna do at this point, but this is definitely a huge setback for the build, and yeah, so I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna go ahead and continue and try to put the rest of this stuff together and just have it sitting assembled, but I don't know. That's probably gonna conclude this video until I can figure out what else is going on. I hate to end my video on a negative note like this, but you know, stuff happens during your build, and you know, unfortunately, this is the way it is. So check back next time, see what kind of progress I'm making, and we're going to figure out how to get this thing worked out. Thanks for watching, folks. See you.